Welcome back to Weekend Prime. I want us to have now a conversation on the femicide cases that have been happening in the country. And in studio, I'm joined by Nancy Baraza. She's a programs assistant at Zamara Foundation. And we also have Njeri Wamigwi. She's the founder and CEO of Usikimie organization. Thank you both for making time for us today.
Thank you for having us.
I know both of you are involved in today's march, and we've seen thousands of women across 11 counties marching just against the femicide cases that we've seen in the country. So just starting off with you, Nancy, 16 women have been murdered in just 1 month. What do you think is the root cause of this femicide situation in the country?
To be frank with you, I believe people are murdered by murderers. It's just plain and simple as that. Someone is a bad person and they've murdered someone.
Mm-hmm.
Giving the root causes gives excuses to why these people are being murdered. So honestly, what I can say is that, one, our laws are not as strict as they should be. Our laws are not being enforced. Our laws are not being implemented, because if they were, then we would not see these cases.
Right.
Yeah.
I want us to come back to the laws in just a bit, but Njeri, coming to you, I know you've been advocating for women's rights, especially survivors of gender-based violence. 16 women. Tell us, what do you think are the causes when it comes to this?
I have to say that there's a very significant overlap when it comes to femicide and domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, to be quite frank, femicide is a culmination of unchecked or runaway domestic violence. GBV, sexual and gender-based violence, that is unchecked, because once again, most of the incidents of femicide actually happen between intimate partners, you know, lovers, husbands, and people like that. So when you look at it, you know very well there was a quarrel. If you look at almost all the cases, there was a quarrel, there was a wrangle, there was a squabble, and one partner killed the other.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Nancy, just coming to you now, in terms of what we've seen, some of the reactions on social media, there's been a section of Kenyans who are victim blaming, basically blaming the women in this case who've died through femicide. What are your thoughts on that?
First, it's very unfair for the women who've lost that their lives and their death are a debate in the country, because honestly speaking, no one knows that they would go out there, they'd meet a guy, and the guy would kill them. So it's really unfair that we put the blame on the women, because there's no way they would have known. There's no way that that fault lies within them. There's no way they should be. It's not nice that we put so much pressure on women to be able to think about, to second guess their existence, to second guess the moment they step out of the house, to second guess what they're wearing, to second guess every little bit of their lives. It's not fair that we put that baggage on the women, and then when they end up getting killed, we still put the blame on them. It's really unfair that we've put women at such a position. And I think it stems from our culture, it stems from our beliefs, it stems from our social cultural upbringings, and it also stems from misogyny and patriarchy that just polices what women are supposed to be like, how women are supposed to move, and also their daily lives, which is not fair. If that was done to people, if that was done to everyone in the country, then they'll know why women are actually hurting, that all this blame is placed on the women that have died. Yeah.
Right. Njeri, coming to you, I think you've seen a certain video, circulating on social media, a certain two gentlemen making certain comments, and we're still talking about the victim blaming situation. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a society problem?
I think it's deeply rooted misogyny and patriarchy, because if you heard that video, the man said, if I buy you pizza and you refuse me, I'll kill you. Are we saying that the body and the value of a woman is the same as a pizza? Because that is what they're saying. And when then you blame us for dying, when somebody set out from their house with the intention of killing you, because that is somebody who says, if I buy you pizza, which I've used my school fees, that is something that is so hypothetical that it's crazy. And you see this attitude has pervaded our social media, where most of the things I post, you will find along the comments, so many men telling me to tell women that they need to stop eating money from men's sweat. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? These women are dead. We've not grieved, we've not even come to terms with all of this. And the one thing that you want us to tell them is, you were killed because you ate somebody's what? Aren't there mechanisms in this country that do conflict resolution? If I steal from you today, wouldn't we go to the police and then to the courts? We even have small courts, small claims courts. But no, you come to social media to insinuate and infer, one, women are inferior, women need to be killed. Every little thing that women do, they deserve death. And I think that stems from an incel culture that is growing in Kenya.
Still on the same though, you talked about, the courts, for instance, the mechanisms that are there. In terms of the legal framework, do you think it's enough that's already there? Even the national laws like the Sexual Offences Act?
No. First of all, we have a very sluggish court system. Our court cases take very, very long, as Nancy will let you know. You'll find that you started a case, maybe for a rape case when a child was 3, you're concluding when a child is 10, or you started a rape case where even a child was born out of rape, the child is 5, 6 when the case is being concluded. And the fact that we get to see our offenders in society, what do you think that puts, the burden that puts on the victim? We have the laws are beautiful. We have beautifully written laws, but they don't work because they are not conformed to.
The implementation. Nancy, same question to you. Do you think the existing legal frameworks really do anything?
Really do anything? I highly doubt that because we've seen cases take very long. There's data I was reading through last time, and it's a data from Africa Data Hub, and it says it takes approximately 1,900 days for someone to be able to, for someone who's been defiled, to be able to get justice. And again, we ask, what does justice look like? Does justice look like, this person just going to jail? Is that enough, really? And also with of course, we have very beautiful laws. We have the Constitution, we have the Sexual Offences Act that you've mentioned, we have the Penal Code, but now in the Penal Code we have, it talks about murder, not specifically femicide. We also have the PADV Act, which now has guidelines. So these are very beautiful laws that we have in our country. One, people are not aware of these laws. They are not aware ways in which they can seek redress in case anything happens to them. That's one. We also have international laws. We have the Maputo Protocol, we have the CEDAW, we have the Beijing Declaration for Action, we have the GEF commitments, which were made by the previous governor, the previous president.
Yes.
All these are very beautiful laws, but all we hear in the system, all we hear is that, the government does not have enough money to do this and this and this. The government cannot be able to do this. All we hear is excuses after excuses. We have very beautiful laws. We do not want even, we actually, at this point,
shouldn't even touch them.
We should not even be debating about laws and all these things, because we want full implementation of these laws, because we have very beautiful documents that the civil society organizations have also looked at. They're very beautiful, would really help emancipate women and girls from the shackles of, patriarchy and also femicide. So really, it calls for us to just look within our systems, look at what we can be able to do better, and call the government to account to protect the lives of women and girls. It's not just about putting things on paper and having documents that just lays in drawers and shelves, but fully implementing those and ensuring that they're domesticated, even to the local levels, to the police stations, so that girls and women in the communities are able to know that they can be able to seek redress. Yeah.
Right. As we wrap up, Njeri, I mean, there definitely seems to be some gaps existing, especially in the legal framework. But what do you think should be done from now henceforth?
I feel like we need to run a very robust campaign. Growing up, there was a very robust campaign that was done for HIV awareness. I remember, I did not even know what HIV was, but I was terrified of it. I knew because at that point they really used to really say you need to use a condom. I knew you needed to use a condom to have sex. I wasn't really aware of the mechanisms of sex, but I knew you needed a condom. Now my question is, we are dying, women are dying. 16 women, we are on the 27th day of the month. That means 1 woman every 2 days. That does not count the 2 women that died. There's a woman that was killed in Kericho today, and there was another woman that have just been called and informed. So now that makes 18 women. So we are having a drop rate of 1 woman, but every 2 days. So now in a country like this, and with laws that are so beautifully written, we need a robust awareness campaign. Like we need to go all the way from the grassroots, go back to the villages, go to the schools, to the everywhere the Kenyans are, and start a campaign. Everywhere there should be posters plastered talking about GBV, because you see, these things is domiciled in GBV at the end of the day. as long as in our houses there is violence,
Right.
that violence will wind up with somebody dying, and most of the times it's a woman who is at the end of it. So what we are asking is we need a robust campaign. I need to be seeing everywhere I walk. If I go to Mama Kamau's shop, there is a poster there reminding me that we shouldn't be doing violence in a language that is understandable to the common people.
Right.
When we come and talk very complicated language here that the common person does not relate to, then they don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't affect them. It should even be dropped down all the way to our own languages, because that's what we probably understand best, to share into everything, until this is even put in curriculums, that children coming up are learning that violence, gender-based violence is wrong. And then trust me, the education, the awareness, and the advocacy of this, we're going to see a turnaround. Because for me, I always believe education is key.
Right, thank you. That's a very good place to end. I think we've learned a lot from what you've said. Of course, that is Jerry Wamigwi. She's a